Hello, everybody. Welcome to March 1st, which is officially Activate Your Purpose and Profit Day. I am Tiffany. I'm going to share today a little bit of information about nonprofit founders, about the nonprofit industry, about what I see is missing in the nonprofit industry, and just share a little bit of information about my new membership society, y'all. So, if you don't know who I am, I'm Tiffany. I help people start their nonprofits. I help people learn how to raise money. And I am just passionate about helping others who want to change their communities. So I go live, I teach, I encourage, I motivate, I do all of the above because I really do believe you can change your community. And I want to show you how. So if you are watching me, I know it's Friday night, so I know some of y'all may not, who are typically on here, may not be on here, but introduce yourself, say hi, let folks know who you are, and share information about your nonprofit because you never know, as I always say, you never know who's watching and you never know who's willing to bless you. Let me tell you a quick story. You want to hear a quick story? I'm going to tell this story while people are coming in because I did just send an email. So, I'm a little lint here. I got an email from someone and she actually might be, hey, Anton, she actually might be watching. She sent me an email and she said that she listened to one of my podcast episodes, and it was one of my episodes with Coach Coop. And she said that she gave because she just was so inspired by the story and what he said, right? And so she had her own nonprofit, and she was like, Tiffany, probably should have given you the money because you're always helping me, but I just really felt compelled to give. And I told her, thank you. Thank you so much for giving because that's the point. The point is, I want to create a platform where you can hear about other people, hear the good work they're doing, and support them. And in turn, you get support. So you never know who's watching, who's listening, who's ready to bless your organization, bless you. And if you're not vocal about it, if you don't talk about it, then you don't get that opportunity to do that. So I really do hope y'all take this to heart that this is a community that we're here to support, help, and bless each other. All right. All right. So what I am doing today is sharing a little bit of information about my membership society. Y'all, it's been a long week, but I am very, very excited because it's here. Yay! I'll do my air horn. Right. So I'm excited because this is the official launch of Activate Your Purpose and Profit. It is going to be a budding community of nonprofit founders who need help raising money because the reality is, in order to do your mission, you need financial resources. I'm not going to sit here and play games and act like you shouldn't be talking about money when it comes to your nonprofit because you have to. And you have to be able to feed your family. So at some point, you got to be compensated for the work that you put in. So I want to share some more information about that. But I want to share three things that I see nonprofit founders struggle with and which I believe is missing in the nonprofit industry. Hey, Cynthia, thank you so much for sharing. Hey, Veronica. Hey, girl. I got your email. I just couldn't respond because, it's a lot going on today. Today was a big day, a lot going on. So I'm going to share three things and you let me know if you can relate because this is what I've seen, but I don't want to speak for you. So you let me know if you can relate to this. This is where I see a lot of nonprofit founders struggle. Okay. So the first thing is isolation. If that's you, put isolation in the chat. Or if you just want to let me know you are following along so I know you're here, put isolation in the chat. I see this over and over again where a founder will talk to me and they'll say, well, I reached out to this person because I needed some help, or I thought they could be a mentor or some guidance, and I got nothing, or nobody responded, or nobody really understands what it's like. Or this is what I've also seen, people don't have a lot of patience if you don't know what you're doing. People don't have a lot of patience if you seem like you're struggling or if it seems like you can't figure certain things out. And I think that's funny because There are things that people who have established nonprofits that you're expected to do as a new founder that they don't know how to do. And you're expected to be something that established nonprofit founders or established executive directors are not or will never be. So I did an exercise. I actually had to run a training today, and I did an exercise where I asked them to identify all the things they're working on, and I asked them to identify where they spend their time. And when you are a startup, you're spending your time on everything. When you have the luxury of having staff, some people don't see it as a luxury. Sometimes they see it as a burden because they have so much to manage. But it's a luxury to have people that you can pay to do some of the things. Whereas when you're a new nonprofit founder, you have to do everything. Hey, LaDonna, yeah, bonus day because I'm celebrating the launch of my community. Fun fact, y'all, I don't know how to dance. So anytime you see me doing all of this, it's a shame and a travesty. All right, I can move a little bit. I just can't do it for long periods of time. Like I can't keep my rhythm for a long time. And it's weird. I play the piano and I barely have rhythm. Thank you, Mariah. So I see people struggle a lot with isolation because they don't know who to trust, where to go. And when they have tried to reach out to people, hey, Mariah, I'm glad you're feeling better. When they tried to reach out to people, they got no's. Right? And so I just have noticed throughout this journey of doing Boss on a Budget that so many people just need like one answer, like one question answered. Like some people just need clarity on like, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Okay, I'm good. As long as you can answer that, all right, now I'm good. And you don't know how many people I've talked to on the phone where I just answered a question and they were like, okay, I got it now. So many people were telling me this, this, and that, and I just didn't know what to do. I'm going to tell you this right now. You need people who understand what you're doing, who understand what you're going through, and can answer those questions for you, where you don't have to feel afraid or be afraid. Hey, Katswana, to be yourself or to figure it out. Because this is a big thing. All this is figuring it out. Like you testing some stuff over here. This don't work today, but it may work tomorrow. That's what being a startup is. But there are so many people who shame startups for some odd reason. I just don't get it. I really don't get the nonprofit industry sometimes, the way they shame people who start organizations, because you shouldn't be expected to know everything. How could you? They don't know everything. Whoop, whoop. So, y'all, if you stay on this live, if you stay to the end, I'm going to be sharing like some bonuses and sharing some prizes and things like that if you decide to join my community today. And I'm actually going to be sharing information about the community. I'm actually going to be answering questions about the community. But if you stay on, you can get some prizes for those who sign up. All right. So let me get my pen. All right, there we go. So, Mariatsu, I think you got to get ready. This is designed for you. So, I actually spoke with one of my coaching clients, one today and one yesterday, and both of them had trusted an accountant to do some work for them. This accountant said that they knew what to do. They needed to file their taxes. And because they didn't know what else or how to like manage in this nonprofit world, they trusted the professionals to take care of it for them. And what happened was, as a result, the professionals messed up their taxes. And for one of those coaching clients, it's pretty significant the mistakes that were made on those tax forms. So why am I bringing up these stories? Here's a couple things. First of all, as a startup founder, I want you to be knowledgeable and equipped. Even if you're going to tap into a professional to do some work for you, I want you to know what they should be doing. So never rely on a professional to just tell you what you should be doing. Know for yourself. This is why this platform is here. And there are other people who talk about and educate on the things you should know. But for example, you should know when your tax form is due, and you should know what tax forms you're submitting. That should be your responsibility. Even if an accountant is going to take over it for you, learn that stuff yourself so that you can protect yourself. That's number one. Number two, even if you're using a professional, make sure you're using a professional that has experience with nonprofits. Because just because they're an accountant does not mean they have ever done a nonprofit tax return. And so sometimes we get so caught up in the like, oh, I'm gonna just use a professional and they're gonna take care of everything. Sometimes the professionals don't know what they're doing. I'm not shading anybody, but sometimes I get professionals like attorneys or accountants who reach out to me and say, "You taught me something, Tiffany. I didn't even know that part." So I'm not downing professions at all. I do believe that you should tap into people who have a specialized expertise, but make sure you are tapping into the people who have the specialized expertise that you need. Can somebody say hello? Hello. That's not what I wanted, but it'll work. A ding will do. A ding will do. All right. So I think it's really, really important that you surround yourself with people who know your space. Because let me tell y'all, the startup space is the bomb. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely difficult, but it's a good place to be because you are at the cuff, like you're on the edge. You doing some new stuff. You have some passion. You have excitement about the work that you do. Nobody else can have. A lot of times, people who already work for nonprofits, they're jaded. You know what I mean? They've done it. They're like, "Oh, we've tried that. That's not going to work." But you're stepping into a space, you're doing a new thing and there's excitement about that. You got to find people who are just like that. So you can motivate yourself and surround yourself with that energy. With that energy, all right? So part of what I'm doing in my society is we're doing Monday calls. So you need that boost of energy for the week, then every Monday we're going to get on a conference call together. I will be running the conference call and I'm going to give you a word for the week so that you can take it with you to stay motivated because it's really hard to stay focused when nobody's telling you you're doing a good job or nobody's acknowledging all the work you did. When you're just sitting in your house and you're on your computer and you struggling with Canva and you're trying to figure out what captions to put and you're trying to figure out what kind of Instagram reels you need. Ooh, it's a mess. Nobody sees that. So I wanted to create a space where people see you. I wanted to create a space where people really, really understand you. Okay. So if you're looking for that, y'all, what you waiting for? What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Okay. So I promised that I would be giving some prizes and bonuses. So it's 6:16 in my time. For the next person who signs up for Activate Your Purpose and Profit, I will send you a free Nonprofits Gotta Eat 2 t-shirt, and you might get something else in that package. So the very next person who signs up after 6:16 my time, t-shirts coming your way. All right. Yay. All right, number 2. Y'all put number 2 in the chat. If you're just joining me, I'm sharing the 3 things that I've noticed about nonprofit founders on my journey. And I've been doing this and teaching on Boss on a Budget since 2016. So I have been doing this for a minute. I have been doing this for a minute. But the second thing I want to talk about is belief. It is belief. And this is the one that people struggle with the most because it's not something that like you get, you understand, and then it stays, right? So one day you may be feeling really energized and happy and you're on it. You know you got this. This is what your calling is. You're on your purpose, everything. And then something could happen, or you could just wake up one day and the next day it's like, I don't think I should be doing this. I think I need to quit. I think that I was crazy for even thinking about this. So it literally, you go in and out, in and out. And when you struggle with belief, when you struggle with understanding whether or not you should really be doing this, it impacts your productivity. It really, really, really does. Because your feelings, a lot of times, influence your output. It shouldn't be like that. Because if you want to really be successful, your feelings shouldn't matter. You should just work your plan, work your plan, work your plan. But we're also human. And I also recognize that even though you want to believe and you don't want to like give into your feelings, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. So you really have to be active and assertive about the beliefs and the things you say to yourself. I actually did a grants webinar yesterday, right? Who was on there? Who was on that webinar with me yesterday? I'm actually doing two more. Veronica, no, you didn't. The rate is still up. I'm gonna share more information about that. You're still good. Um, I did a webinar and I talked about belief and I talked about how when you don't think you can make something happen, then you're not going to take the steps to make it happen. When you believe bold things can happen in your life, then you're more likely to take bold steps, right? But when you have already convinced yourself that something is not going to work, is not going to be possible, then it's very unlikely that you're going to take the steps to get there. So you can be wishing and hoping, but the language you say to yourself all the time is, oh, it's not going to work. Oh, it's not going to happen. It's too big. Nobody's going to do that. If you talk to yourself in that way, that's what's going to happen. So I see some questions rolling through and I'm going to answer them. But I really want to address the belief thing because, oh, hey, Willie, you were on the webinar yesterday, because it can handicap you. And one practice that I've put in place is writing out affirmations to myself. And the funny thing is, once I begin to write affirmations, sometimes I'll say them, sometimes I'll forget to say them. But the funny thing is, once I've had them like cemented in my brain, I begin to respond to myself with those affirmations. Anybody know what I'm talking about? So one of my affirmations has been, because I've struggled a lot with time. I'm the type of person, I'm gonna stay busy. If I don't have nothing on my calendar or I don't have nothing going on in my life, I'm gonna drum up something. I'm gonna have something going. So, y'all, I play the piano, music director at my church. I do other contracts with my business. I'm on YouTube. I just started a new YouTube channel. I'm gonna share more about that later. I'm gonna figure out how to stay busy. But I struggle with time, and I've always told myself, I don't have time for that. I wish I could do that because if I had more time, then that could really, really work for me. And I realized that it was all an illusion, that I actually have time to do the things that I said I want to do for my business. It's just that I wasn't prioritizing it. I was making excuses for it. And I had time if I wanted to make time, even with the things I have going on in my life. I had time. I just wasn't doing it. And so one of the affirmations I said to myself, or I created for myself, is I have time to do the things that I care about. I have time to do the things that matter to me personally and professionally. I have the time. So what happens is when I say things to myself now, it's like, I'm stressed. I don't know if I'm gonna get that done. I don't really have time for this. I actually say that back to myself. You have time for the things that you care about personally and professionally. You absolutely do. So the practice of me writing out affirmations helps me change my inner language. Because before you say anything about any kind of disbelief that you have, it comes up inside first. And sometimes you're afraid to even speak the disbelief. Sometimes you don't even get it out. Sometimes you're talking to yourself. It's an internal battle with yourself, right? And you have to be able to combat that, right? You have to be able to stand up for what you believe in and say, no, that's actually not true. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. So, one of the things that you're going to have to really conquer in the startup journey is your beliefs. and challenging the things that you believe or the things that you think you believe about your nonprofit or about what's possible. Okay. Because the people who are successful, the people who are doing wild things, the people who have bold things happening in their lives are the ones who took wild risks and did bold things in their lives. And as I talked about in the webinar yesterday, you are a startup, baby. Nobody's going to make excuses for you. So that means you can be scrappy. That means you got to fight for what you want because you believe that somebody out there needs your services. You wouldn't be in existence if they didn't. So because somebody needs your services, you're not going to just play it safe. You're going to make yourself known because there's already people out here doing similar things. It's very rare you're doing something very different. You're doing similar things. But you got to make yourself known. And the way you get funded, the way you get more visible, you got to step in here and say, we belong. And before you can even do that, you have to believe that. You have to believe that you do belong. You have to believe that you are needed. You have to believe that somebody out there believes in what you're doing. Because otherwise, why would you keep going? Okay? Make sense, y'all? I hope it makes sense. So the one thing I want you to tackle as a nonprofit founder, the one thing I want you to get really intentional about is challenging the beliefs you have and the words and the statements you say to yourself. Even if in your heart of hearts you believe you don't know. You don't know if it's really possible. You don't know if it's really real. You want something to be, but you don't know. But I want you to avoid assuming that it can't be, because that cannot always be your first assumption that it can't be. Okay. So, okay, I see some yeses. So I saw a question earlier about one-on-one. So I do one-on-one coaching, and I have now transitioned everything into the membership society. So today is the launch. Womp womp. I don't know why I keep doing sound effects when my iPad is right here. I need my nephew here so he can do my sound effects. He should have been here. My membership society is a community for nonprofit founders to get help with fundraising. That's all we're going to talk about. We're going to focus on to get you to your fundraising goals. And so I have transitioned everything, all of my teaching, all of that into the society. There are actually 3 different levels. Can somebody say 3 levels? So it's based on, thank you, Veronica. It's based on what you need at the time. So if you need one-on-one coaching, then that's the highest level. But you may not need that for the whole time, but you still need community. So if you still need a community, you can literally start for $35 a month. I was very intentional about making it affordable so that you can find your people, so that you can have community. So if you just want to just see, you just want to hear, you just want to learn, start with at least $35. And then as you need more assistance and as you need more help, you can move up. But as soon as you join for that $35, I have 30-day action plans to raise money. I have over 50 videos I've recorded. Some of them are old live videos that I saved. Some of them are actually specialized trainings that I've done before. And also templates of things that you need for fundraising are all there just for the $35. So do you need something like that? Do you be struggling with your fundraising? You don't know how to write a letter? If you need to send a letter to a funder or send a letter to a sponsor and you're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to say? The template is in the community, y'all. Somebody say the template is there. Okay. So I just wanted to answer a few questions because I saw the question about the one-on-one. Yes. So when you do one-on-one with me in the membership society, I'm going to look at what you're working on. We're going to focus on a fundraising strategy for you, and I'm going to give you assistance with the fundraising strategy. I used to do coaching. Veronica's one of my OG coaches for any and everything, but this community is just going to be focused on fundraising so that we can get to the meat of it all. Because if you don't have money, you can't do the other things. So let's just get all that other stuff out of the way and let's focus on how to make you money. All right. So number 3. Can you drop number 3? in the chat. And I'm talking about 3 things you need to focus on, be mindful of as a nonprofit founder, but also like what I feel like the industry gets wrong or what the industry just misses about the startup journey. I feel like people give the startup area or the startup phase of nonprofits, they give us a bad rap. But it's because a lot of people don't believe that we need new organizations. A lot of people don't believe that we need somebody else coming into a space doing something. But at least where I work with social work, I'm always hearing about services that are missing, services that don't exist. There are people who are not getting what they need. And I just talked to a new member, Cynthia. She's a new member of the Membership Society. I talked to her today and I learned about what she's doing in Alabama. And she's providing food for people in Alabama. And she made the comment that, yeah, in the COVID era, there was all this stuff going around with support, with food stamps and stuff like that. But all the support has gone away, but the need has not gone away. So there are still people in some of the poorest areas of the country who need food. So her organization provides food. Her organization provides food for those people. And nobody else is doing that. So when somebody says to me, oh, there are too many nonprofits, we don't need another nonprofit. Not necessarily. Because I hear all the time, people don't have it. Hey, okay, I see a couple more questions, so I'm gonna make sure I answer your questions, okay? I absolutely will get to your questions. So you need to make sure when you're starting something that there is actually a need, because when you position yourself to donors and funders, they have to see that you're needed. They have to believe that you're needed. They have to see it, right? You have to sell that to them. But just saying that don't start another nonprofit or there are too many nonprofits, just saying that blanket statement is not good enough, in my opinion. It's just not good enough. So the third thing I want you to focus on is actually focus. I didn't know I was going to do that. The third thing is focus. Can somebody say focus in the chat? And after I explain this one, I'll answer some of the questions about the community. So this is the thing about your nonprofit. We said earlier, you have to do everything. You have to worry about your paperwork. You have to do the programming. You have to worry about collecting data. You got to worry about your board and making sure they're doing everything. And you have to fundraise. You have to do all the things in the beginning. But the catch-22 about that is if you don't focus on certain things, you're going to burn out. If you don't focus on raising money, then you're going to keep using your own money to pay for things, right? Okay, Instagram. You're going to keep using your own money, and eventually you're going to burn out because you're going to question whether or not you should keep doing this when you don't have the financial resources to keep going. So yes, there are a lot of things that you have to work on as a nonprofit founder, but if you do not focus on fundraising, it will limit your growth. It will limit your process. It will limit your journey. And what I've seen a lot of people do is they get tired and they get frustrated because they're spending all of their own money, and then they have to take a break, and then they have to, go do something else. And then they'll come back to it later and focus on it and get going, but they're still using their own money. And then they go a little bit further and it's like, I need to help and support my family. So the reality is, if you do not focus on fundraising, it absolutely will limit your growth. So one of the reasons why I designed this community the way I did is because I realized that people can get really distracted and not know where to spend their time and their attention. So they are really good at doing the programming. They're really, really good at figuring out, okay, I'm going to serve people this way. I'm going to provide this service. That's exciting. That's fun. You get to help people. But what's not fun is figuring out how in the world you're going to raise the money to do it. That's the less fun part about it. The less fun part about it is, how the heck am I going to ask people or get the nerve up to ask people for what I know I need, but I'm still afraid to ask. And if you don't address that, if you don't focus in and zero in on what's holding you back from making money, you're not going to make money. So the community is only designed to focus on fundraising. Now, fundraising is broad. Part of your fundraising is staying visible. Part of your fundraising is your communication strategy. Part of your fundraising is how you show your impact. So when I say focusing on fundraising, I don't mean just focusing on asking, but at some point, a lot of your time and your energy has to go towards figuring out how to raise money. You have to clear the way to focus on that. And once you have the money, you can have the breathing room to be able to do the other things that you want to do. When I did a training today for nonprofit founders for a project I have. And in doing my research, I was just wondering like what experts say about how much time executive directors should spend on fundraising. How much time do you think experts say executive directors should spend on fundraising? Percentage wise, how much time? How much time does it take for an executive director to fundraise? Anybody want to guess? Ooh, Veronica got a high one, 75%. Doris said 100%. Okay, y'all coming through. They said at least 50%. At least 50%. Look at y'all coming through with the numbers, right? Because as an executive director, you got to manage a whole lot, but at least 50% of your effort and your time has to be on fundraising. So y'all are already on board. Y'all already know you need to be focused on fundraising. But a lot of times you don't have the time, the space to focus on it. To say, okay, I'm only going to work on this grant proposal. Veronica know what I'm talking about. She just worked on one. Or I'm only going to work on setting up this daggone campaign and figuring out how many people we need to reach out to so we can ask for money. Or figuring out what my email sequence is going to be for this campaign. Because when you ask people for money, you can't just reach out one time. So how many times am I going to follow up? Who's going to do the follow up? What's the script that the people are going to use? How are we going to touch base with each other? Who are the other people who are going to raise money with me? What's the plan? All of that. You need time and space to do that. So one of the things that I designed in my community is what's called a co-working sessions. This is for the VIP level and up. So if you need dedicated time to work on something that's only fundraising, you're so welcome. Whoever said thank you. I can't see it because you're in the group saying that. If you need dedicated time, then what you need to do is join the co-working session, and you can get on Zoom and we'll put a timer on and we'll give you the space to work on what you need to work on. You block it off on your calendar, but you have to actually show up to the co-working session in order to do the work, right? So I've designed it that way. There's 2 of those in a month because I know that if you don't block it out on your schedule, it's not going to be done, right? So I was very intentional about how I designed this because I wanted to create a space where you could actually see results. But I actually wanted to root it in the reality that you got a lot going on. So that is one of the things that you'll get if you sign up for VIP access or higher. But regardless, once you sign up, you'll be added to our private Facebook group where you can get access to templates, information, daily posts that are all geared towards you making money. They're an hour, Veronica. The sessions are an hour and they're on Zoom. And we can come on there and work together. All right. And hold you accountable for working together. So I've mentioned a few things and I talked about why I designed it the way I did. If that's something you know you need, right? If you know you need to finally just focus, you've been working on your nonprofit for a minute, you're spinning your wheels, you're not making the progress you want to make. A lot of it is because you have not given the dedicated time to the things that will actually move the needle. So if you feel like something like that will help you, if you feel like having dedicated time, having people to push you and encourage you and check up on you is what's going to keep you going or is going to move you to the next level, then go ahead and hit join in the comments or go ahead and click the link to join the community. It just takes $35 today to at least get started. And then you can ease yourself into the journey. Okay. So, y'all, I'm going to recap real quick, but I want to share a quick story about how I got here. I feel like I should get some violin music because I feel like it's going to be a little emotional. And also, if you stay to the end, I'm going to do one more giveaway. How about I do a giveaway right now and then I do a giveaway after? Okay, so for the next person is 639. I need to write it down. Hold on. 639. The next person who signs up, if I look into my timestamps for those who sign up for the membership society, I'll put the link in the comments. I will send you a free gift in the mail, free merch, and you might have something else on there. You never know. So I'm putting the link on the Instagram page. It's also in the link in my bio, and I'm putting it on the YouTubes and Facebook. All right. All right. So I'm going to share a quick story, y'all. I'm actually going to do a reel on this tomorrow as well, but I have done this before. I have actually had a membership community and I decided to stop. So I've actually done this 2 times before. And the first time, a lot of people don't know or maybe didn't realize. It was 2018. And there are people who are still following me to this day who were a part of this. I asked a couple of people in my grant writing group if they wanted to have an accountability kind of like group where we could work on stuff together and I could hold them accountable. And we would meet every week. So it was about 5 founders who said, yes, I'll do it. So we came together and we would meet and I would create work plans for them. And I would reach out to them and say, hey, are you working on this? Are you working on this? And that went for a while, but it got to be a lot for me. So I had to stop. But I kept saying, like, I feel like there's something needed. Like, I feel like people still need a community. Like, that's the point. Like, people want to work on the things for their nonprofit, but they don't have the time, right? They don't have the time and they're not sure where to start. So I knew something like that was needed, but it just kind of fell apart. So fast forward to 2021. I think I'm getting my years right because, it's all a blur. Fast forward to 2021, I created a membership society called Money on a Mission. And there are a few people who are on here as well who are part of Money on a Mission. And it was a little bit more focused. It was on fundraising, but it was a lot in the community. I was providing a lot of information. If you got in there, you child. But it wasn't sustainable for me. It wasn't something that I could do. I actually was still working a full-time job when I launched it. So it wasn't sustainable. I couldn't do it long-term. I couldn't keep it up. And I decided to close the doors. Now, anybody listening to that or seeing that process could probably been like, oh, that was a failure. Because I told myself, oh, I'm going to help 100 people raise money. Like 100 people going to get in this community. And that's what it's going to be. I didn't get over 20 people in the community. Right. So in all, like for the outsiders looking in, they probably saw that as a failure. They probably saw that as like, you tried, it didn't work for you. You couldn't even maintain it. So don't even do it again. Right. But I believe that they weren't failures. It was just data. It was just data for me to understand what to do, what not to do. It helped me understand what I was capable of, what my capacity was, and what my capacity wasn't. So that when it was really time for me to do what I needed to do, I could be better. I could be different. I could help even more. Because all the people that I work with who are still following me to this day, and I'm about to have a couple of them on my podcast. Lynn Walls was one of the OGs. She was in my very first accountability group. Um, if I had stopped, I wouldn't be here. If I had just considered that a failure and said, you know what, that doesn't work for me, I wouldn't be here right now. But I still felt like this was needed. I still felt like there's not a community of people where they can get the encouragement and the motivation that they need. And I believe my calling is to encourage. I believe my calling is to motivate. I love to teach. And yes, that is a calling as well. But in this particular community, I believe I've been placed here to help you believe that you can do this. So many people come to me. I'm gonna try not to get emotional. So many people come to me and tell me, I watched your videos, and because I watched your videos, it made me believe I could do this. So many people discouraged me. This is people talking to me. They'll say, well, people discouraged me from doing this. They said it was too hard, like it would be too difficult to figure out. But I watched your videos and I figured it out. And y'all don't know how many people I've heard who have started their nonprofits and are on their way because they watched a YouTube video of mine. And I'm extremely grateful to be in that position. I'm extremely grateful that I was able to help everyone. And I now believe that I'm moving into a place where I can do even more by motivating and supporting you through this process. Because I'm not lying when I say I really do believe you can do this. But you have to believe you can do this. I'm not lying when I say there are people out there who need you. I'm not lying when I say that. I work in a system where it's dire straits. I work in government agencies and I see it all the time where there are families who are not getting what they need. So I am not lying when I say whatever you decide to do, somebody needs you. Even if you started a nonprofit, you helped 3 people and decided it wasn't for you, you still helped 3 people. And that's more than a lot of people are willing to do. So what I'm telling you is you have a heart for this. This is probably your purpose. A lot of you believe you have a calling. Even the little bit that you do that you think is unnoticed is helping somebody. It's changing somebody's life. So don't take it for granted. You see yourself as a failure because you didn't do everything perfectly, or you learned something yesterday that you didn't even know about. And you feel stupid because why didn't I know that? I should know that. I should be smarter. I should be better. I'm supposed to lead this organization. Not so. Not so. I'm telling you that even the fact that you decided to start and help one person, you're doing way more than a lot of people are willing to do. A lot of people are willing to just sit on the sidelines and complain and sit on the sidelines and lament and say, what's going on? Why is this happening? Instead of rolling up their sleeves and doing something about it. You decided to do that. And you don't understand how amazing that is. You don't understand how amazing you are. So don't discount anything you do to help even one person. It's not a failure. It's not a failure. All right. So, with that, I'm going to recap real quick what we talked about. I'm leaving this video up, so you can watch this later if you're coming on late. But if you are a new nonprofit founder, the things that I've seen people struggle with the most that you should be mindful of on your journey is isolation, right? You need to find a community of people who understand what you're going through, who understand your specific needs. You need to find your people. Find your people. The second thing is you need to address your beliefs. You need to address how you talk to yourself, what you say about yourself and what you say about your organization. What you say is possible. Okay? And then the last thing is you need to focus. And you need to focus on how to raise money because I don't want you to burn out And it's not fair that you're draining your pockets to help somebody else when there are resources out there, when there are other people who absolutely are willing to help. Okay. So those are the three things. And finally, for the next person who signs up, where is my pad? Y'all. Oh, here we go. It's 6:48. So for the next person who signs up, and because you waited to the very end, you stayed to the very end of my live. Look at you. You so special. For the next person who signs up after 6:48, I will give you a free digital product from my online store. So I have workbooks, master classes, checklists, all of that on my digital product store. And I will give you one free product of your choice from the store. But you got to sign up for the membership society, and 6:48 was the timestamp. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Thank you so much for supporting Boss on a Budget, y'all. Congratulations on the work that you're doing. A couple questions that I'll address before I jump off. Latanya says, is the $35 pre-recorded videos only? Yes. So there are over 50 videos, and every time I do a live video, I will save it and add it to the library in the society. I will occasionally go live in the Facebook group to keep engagement up. And then also I will occasionally do other lives, and not me, but other people will be there. But that's planned, and that's a little bit of a secret. So yes, if you're at the VIP level, then you get a new live training. VIP level and up, you get a new live training every month. And there's a different theme of every month, and the theme of this month is grants. So we're going to get a special grants training that's even more detailed than the grants webinar that I held yesterday. All right. And yes. All right, I think I answered all the questions. Y'all, I'm just looking through just to make sure. I'm on here by myself today, so Yolanda's not here to help me. Oh, okay. All right, I think I got through all the comments. I'll add this on here. I'll put this on here before I jump off. Thank you, Doris. She says, I just joined your community, and I've never been so blown away by your positivity. Looking forward to working with you in the community. Yes, it takes a village. Yes, thank you so much for joining, Doris. You the bomb, girl. You the bomb. All right. And next week, hopefully, I'm going to have 2 of my coaches on. I have to coordinate some things. But so you can hear directly from them what the experience has been coaching with me to decide if you really want to get a little closer. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome weekend. Get some rest. Take care of yourselves. Love on each other. All the good things. And I will see you on Sunday. All right. Bye. Bye.